Welcome back to Unwrapped, the Pick and Roll podcast. Adam Webster back with you, and I'm joined at this time by an Australian with a really unique and exciting hobby that has caused him to accumulate a collection that is unrivaled around the world of basketball memorabilia. Josh De Vaney is a WA native that boasts more Jordan memorabilia, toys, all of the Jordan types of things that you could possibly collect, and I want to get into it with Josh in just a second. The Michael Jordan of Michael Jordan's toys is the way that he describes himself on Instagram, and you can find him at joshua.devaney on Instagram. It's my pleasure to welcome Josh De Vaney. Josh, welcome to Unwrapped, and really excited to have a chat to you today.
Thank you. And again, I'll reach out and say thank you very much for having me. It's an honour and a true blessing to be able to discuss what I've accumulated in my story along the way, but also to always cross cultures with Jordan in aspects of not just shoes and jerseys, but also other memorabilia, what I'm doing in particular.
So when did this start, and how did this start for you? Did it start as a child? Does it start as an adult? What was the flashpoint for you where you sort of got your first toy or your first piece of memorabilia and thought, I can't stop now, I've got to get some more?
Well, I'm very grateful for my mum for taking photos and keeping them so I can actually show you. There's me back in
Brilliant.
1996.
Wow. Yep.
So that's on my first toy hoop. Michael Jordan, as you can see, it's my younger sister there getting dunked on.
Dunking over your sister. That's a big brother thing to do, isn't it? Yeah.
So, look, to have a photo to actually show you as much as speak on the memory itself is fantastic. So that's where it all started for me. It was back in 1996. Fast forward to 2015. Again, I was working up north and decided one night on eBay just to go looking for that particular hoop. And thankfully, somebody had kept it in good condition with the box. So I purchased it, and it really sort of snowballed from there.
Wow. So you started with obviously a childhood memory, something that you hold dear. You buy something on eBay. How does it snowball into the collection that you've been able to accumulate? Is it just, spare time, nights on eBay? Is it going to swap meets and collectors events and that sort of thing? Obviously, being in Australia as well, it must be really hard to get access to some of this stuff.
That's a great point for bringing it up. So thank you, because getting a lot of that stuff never arrived at our shores. Doing a roster of 4 and 1 at that time, obviously my time at home to access shops and stuff is limited, so it's always online. But eBay was 98% of the place time where I found everything as well. So that was very helpful because obviously I could have time after long hours still looking for everything online. I'd buy a lot of stuff, and after 4 weeks, you could imagine I'd come home to a room full of all these boxes, which is like mail day heaven, and I'd be opening up all these different Jordan toys.
Well, you mentioned obviously you worked FIFO at that time, and you were a 4-on 1-off roster, which can be really taxing and really arduous, and as you said to me, a mental game rather than a physical one. Is this sort of what tied you over with that week off that you had, and the ability to be able to accumulate the collection and purchase and open and enjoy? And was that sort of your connection to coming back from work for quite some time?
I guess you could say it. I've never thought of it probably that way. Just something that I just obviously in my spare time would delve into, because there was nowhere in particular that had a list of Jordan toys. So I was sort of learning as I was going along myself. So watching the Antiques Roadshow, I always loved people that were specified in their particular interests. So that's what drove me, finding that there was nobody. So I would educate and further myself through knowledge and purchasing. And sort of that's where part of my story and journey ties into all of this, because I was buying at that time this Jordan figurine. Now, there wasn't much info and stuff with it. And as you can see, it came in these clear plastic bags. And that always fascinated me, because I thought, if you were the GOAT, how disrespectful
to put it in a plastic bag. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It seems like something you get in a cereal box at most, but that's not the story. So I bought about 16 of these through separate purchases at that time, and I accumulated these and asked my friend in Chicago, who's a big Jordan collector for decades at that stage, and said to him, like, do you know anything about this toy? And he goes, no, I said, well, it's from Ohio Art, which is probably an hour and a half away from you. Have you ever bothered to contact the company? And he said no. So I'd hung up the phone immediately, and I think it was 10 o'clock here at night. I rang this toy company and got through, and luckily enough, it was to a lady of the archives department. So
Wow.
after a quick phone call, she asked me to send her an email with the pictures of all these toys, and basically got back to me and said, first of all, how did you get these? And I explained to her eBay, and she goes, these were something that were not meant to be released.
Wow.
It was meant to be internalized, and basically they've gotten out all these years later. We're talking 3 decades plus later.
Yep.
So we are able to find that Jordan's first toy endorsement was with Ohio Art Toys, which their first toy line and his toy endorsement, you can see there's a picture there of MJ with this figurine.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So that's on the back of a poster, a free poster. So that was what was photographed and promoted as him having, and it's been written in the catalogue book as well, that a 8 3/4 inch Michael Jordan figure would be included in this toy horse hoop set. But as you can see, and this is an original one, which is very hard to find, Jordan's image is on it, but they've got this white guy figure.
Toy. Yeah, right. So there must have been some sort of disagreement somewhere along the line, or some sort of power play by Nike or something that prevented that Jordan figure from being included, right?
Correct, because as you can see, and I'll hold this up for your viewers and yourself, there's a Nike shoe on it.
Yep.
Now, Jordan's first shoe, for those who don't know, he actually wore while he was waiting for his Jordan 1, the Airship.
And that's the shoe that he's wearing on the figure.
Look at that.
Wow. Yeah.
So what you've said is correct. Nike could have intervened and said, hang on, you're using intellectual property of ours without an agreement per such. So that could be a reason in itself.
So you managed to get 16 of these things that were never for sale and were potentially discontinued by some intellectual property issues. Are you wanting to go on an Antiques Roadshow and, figure out what this collection or what some of your rare items are worth, or have you had them valued?
Well, this is the thing, and to get them valued is very hard because, I mean, individually I can't because I'm too attached to it, and do you know what I mean? But knowing first of all, it's Michael Jordan. Anything with Michael Jordan, especially since The Last Dance, and rarity goes up in value.
Yes.
So, and to figure out this is actually his true first toy endorsement, his true first figurine, and this wasn't sold or released or mass produced, is quite fascinating because this is an untapped part of his legacy, and it's interesting to note. So when I actually went to the toy company in 2019 and met with the CEO and the archives lady and went to their vault because they've been making toys for 100 years, and there was none of these in this room. And I'm like, you don't even have this in your own. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm holding. So I have been lucky through eBay purchases as well to have bought. This is the first Jordan toy announcement that Ohio Art, like a press release. So that's the original press release stating the toys that have been released. And I've got the original photo, which I've blown up to show you and your viewers. This is a promo photo they've got where they use Jordan with his first line of 4 hoops and stuff. And above that locker where Jordan is and that young gentleman standing up is the figurine itself. And I'll see.
So this has really become a bit of a crusade for you in terms of, trying to unpick this puzzle of Jordan's first toy in, as the crown jewel of your collection, really.
For sure. And to get it valued is, again, that's where I was sort of heading. There's a guy called Jordan Hembrough. He was the TV toy hunter or something like that. He had his own show. He's an American guy. So he's got a shop in New Jersey. So I've looked for years, emailed, made phone calls, left phone calls, voice messages, trying to get him, first of all, interested, because we're talking about a cultural pop icon, but especially one in America where, and he does sort of valuations and he's independent. So he's somebody I've been trying to reach out to try getting an evaluation of it. So Based on just Jordan history alone, the fact that this is his first is what I consider his rarest. And it's been in magazines and newspapers and online. And I've been very fortunate to have shared my story in many media forms. It's history, it's part of Jordan's history.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it's actually the only one figurine that you can actually use of his. So this
Yep.
actually shoots the ball 4 or 5 feet
Incredible.
into a hoop, and you can play a horse game.
Yeah.
So, and it's just fascinating because he's photographed and promoting it, and yet they were given another figurine. And the reason that they told me in person, face to face, was it was due to a lack of popularity. Now, and I explained to
Doesn't
them that
really track, does it?
I explained to them at that time, at popularity, Jordan had his sort of highest like stats per year, 37 points, I think it was in 1987 thereabouts. He won the slam dunk comp in early '88, so popularity wasn't related to star status. It was more or less what they said was due to skin color, because the
Yeah.
boys and girls in the testing room gravitated towards that figurine as opposed to his own figurine.
Right.
Plus,
Okay.
plus the possible Nike involvement, as we were mentioning, is certainly cause for this toy to be stripped at the last moment.
So that's obviously the toy that probably has the most interesting story to it. What lengths have you gone to get other toys as part of your collection? You obviously said you travelled to Ohio Art to meet with them. I'm guessing that wasn't your only stop on that trip, and you may or may not have acquired a few more toys along the way.
I did online, but nothing really in the shops while I was over there. I didn't really see anything. But
eBay's king, hey?
yeah, it's eBay. And I did a promo ad with eBay earlier this year for some Jordan stuff. So that we collaborated with eBay Australia, that which was pretty good. So yeah, I acknowledge eBay for all of my stuff really. But I did a 10 city tour in America at that time. So I went to a game. First game was in Madison Square Garden, New York. I watched
Yep.
the game there, which is fantastic. And then I was at the 2019 All Star game in Charlotte, because being Jordan and
Of course.
Jordan's birthday, yeah, that was fantastic to be in the same arena as the man himself.
So you've connected or been able to connect with a few people from Jordan's career and Jordan's life, the fellow players and coaches and the like. What have been some of your most favorite interactions with those sorts of individuals?
I'll start off with Reggie, because I had a live with Reggie quite a few years ago, and that was fantastic at that time because my Jordan room hadn't really taken off, but I was able to discuss with him that's what I was collecting, and obviously this was just before the All Star game,
Yeah.
and he sort of wished me luck and stuff like that. So to have some connection and the conversation with Reggie about it is fantastic, and I have a
Jealous of
snippet of
that
him.
one, Josh. I won't lie. Very jealous of
Yeah,
that
yeah,
one.
thank you. I have a snippet of him laughing, saying, "Yes, Josh, I know about your Jordan offer." So that's fantastic. Obviously, his former teammate and Perth guy, Luke Longley, who I met 2 years ago,
Yep.
uh, I gifted him one of those toys actually that night at a meet and greet, and a lot of information with it, because I thought, how cool would that be for him to be a storyteller and owner of Jordan's first toy, and just to
Yeah.
take a photo of that and send it to him. I'm sure Jordan would be like, "What the hell?" I mean, that world
Yeah. Yeah.
connects. So I thought, how cool would that be? Jordan's coach, my partner, got me for Father's Day, was a video message from Doug Collins, who's now just entered the Hall of Fame, which is fantastic.
Awesome. Yep.
To have a personal message from him, and obviously contact with his son Marcus, which I've been very fortunate to have as well. So I've been able to communicate with him through various things. I've actually just picked up a pair of his PEs. So for people who don't know, PEs are player exclusive. So this is designed for Marcus and his brother Jeff from the Jordan brand. This was their first collaboration, their first shoe in middle school. So
Wow.
I was able to get that through a guy I know off Instagram, and I've got the boys to sign it as well. So I'm sending this off to America shortly for Jeff and Marcus to sign a shoe each for me, because I want to add it to my collection. So that's pretty cool to have that relationship established and stuff like that as well.
Now, what would happen if you ever met the man himself?
That would be a great conversation to start off with, because without even me talking about what I've got, it's more about the people who he knows who know of me and have established these sorts of relationships for the last 9.5 years. To the vice president of his company, Howard White, who I met by chance when I was in Portland, Oregon, at the Michael Jordan building in 2019, where I had a conversation with him. I got a photo of him holding this toy. So for people who don't know and saw that movie Air with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, Howard White is who Chris Tucker played. So that's pretty cool to have met that gentleman and have that relationship. Just other people as well that I've been able to sort of navigate and dance with in regards to this stuff. So that alone, I think, would establish some sort of, passion over time that I've been able. I was actually just speaking to a Nike designer this morning. I'm sure he won't mind me mentioning this. Former Nike designer named Aaron Cooper, who's now got his own company called EQL, and he's designing shoes for them now. So I had a chat with him. So I've been able to sort of navigate with this for quite some time amongst quite a few people, as well as media stuff as well. So I guess the conversation would be then directed towards what does he know and remember about this toy?
Yep.
Because it'd be interesting to put him back with something that he hasn't been seen or photographed with since. And
that he'd seen it at some point, right? Like he's had to approve it at some point for it to get to that point.
And correct. And he did, because this is the figurine that they used. And they actually just painted one of these dark color for the photo with Jordan.
Wow.
So he wasn't happy. So he did, as you said, at a later stage, approved for this head mold, which is different and more lifelike.
Yeah.
He approved for this. So there was some approval for these to be made. But again, it was stopped and not mass produced. So it's quite fascinating.
The mystery continues. Josh De Vaney, we wish you all the best in unpicking this mystery, and we're excited to see where it goes next. You can follow Josh at joshua.devaney on Instagram. Josh, thanks so much for being part of Unwrapped.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me, and I'm very grateful. Thank you.